Picture for a moment that you are on the ocean, floating along in a comfortable vessel, feeling serene and peaceful. When suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, you sense motion. As you draw closer, you see that there is a person flailing around, gasping for air, barely staying afloat in the water. If you came upon a drowning person, what would you do? I know that your first impulse would be to help. You would look around for a flotation device, you would pull them up into your own boat, or for God's sake, you might even jump into the water to save them, even if you were terrified to do so. We seem not to associate the sharing of our faith as a way to rescue people from struggle, from drowning, even though there is every indicator that people in our culture are out there in the middle of the water paddling as fast and as furiously as they can, even as we sit in the safety of our own boat, in our own spiritual home. Out of a sense of respect and not wanting to push our faith on others, we stay silent, even in the face of all of the evidence that people simply want to know that there is such a faith as ours. Time and time again, they say they had no idea. I just want to be clear that I'm not talking about forcing people to convert. I'm simply talking about letting them know that we exist. This morning, you have heard 3 stories about people whose lives have been immeasurably enriched by finding this tradition. And I know of many, many such stories. For example, the true story of the young high school-aged woman living in a small town in Texas who was going through a faith crisis. She questioned established church doctrine, and given that there were no other religious options available to her, she found herself extremely isolated and alone. She became so desperate in her loneliness that she contemplated ending her life. Her loneliness was that extreme. For a school assignment, she was researching the United Nations and just happened upon the definition of Unitarian Universalism in the dictionary. And that moment changed the trajectory of her life forever. But she had to happen upon it in the dictionary. Or the man on death row who began a very earnest study of world religions in order to find faith to support him in his aspirations to heal his wrongs and live out his days in peace and truth and fulfillment. He began a correspondence with the Reverend Bill Sinkford, the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and became convinced through his connections with other Unitarian Universalists that we actually believe in the principles that we espouse. But keep in mind, this was a prisoner on death row with a high motivation and a great deal of time. I am very glad that this citizen learned of our saving message, one of inclusion and of a loving God and of equality for everyone. I just wonder if his life might have been any different if he had heard of us before going into prison. And what about your story? When did you discover Unitarian Universalism? And when you did you wonder why you had never heard of our open-minded, open-hearted, justice-seeking religion before? Can I hear an amen? Amen. Did it feel like coming upon an oasis in the desert? I am so grateful that I was raised in this tradition, and our assistant minister, Lauren Smith, is a 5th-generation Unitarian, by the way. This tradition is, simply put, a wonderful grounding for young human beings as they are evolving to be in a safe, nurturing, questioning-friendly environment But more than that, to have been given the gift of an authentic spirituality, a place to worship and learn, a place to be called forward on the path of my life by the universe. I literally cannot imagine my life without Unitarian Universalism at its center. And I thank my parents for this gift and for showing me that going to church is just what we do in this family. This gift has shaped me into the person I have become, but more importantly, the person I am yet becoming. People are longing for our expression of faith. They are casting emails out into online communities, writing letters from prison, sitting in small towns, thinking that there is no hope. They are wandering around these streets in our very own bustling metropolitan areas, feeling alone and wondering. They are searching, they are longing, and many of them are losing hope. We need to do more than simply whisper across the waves that we exist. We need to be willing to share with our friends the benefits that this congregation has brought into our lives. We need to invite people into our practice of social justice, invite them into worship, invite them into transformation. For those of you who are here in person today, I invite you to practice stepping out of your comfort zone by publicly identifying as a Unitarian Universalist and mentioning to others how it is connected to your life, how it brings you hope, how it helps you grow, how it supports your family. Identify and be willing to share how this church has brought solace to the dryness at your heart, as the poem earlier stated. For those of you who are searching right now for an authentic spiritual home, we have been waiting for you. I invite you to go to our association's website at www.uua.org to find a congregation near you and visit this Sunday. It just might change your life as it has ours. If we saw someone that was drowning in the water and we believed that we had a way to help, we would do so, even if our own comfort was threatened. Be assured, dear people, that the sharing of the existence of our religious home may be just as life-saving, and not just for the ones in the water, but for those of us in the boat as well. For we are changed by stretching ourselves and by our honest, authentic encounters with others. May it be so. May it be so.